Hi everyone, welcome back to my little homestead. Today I'm going to make for you a chocolate slice. It's something that I've made many times, and it's just it's a simple kind of slice that you would have in a lunchbox, and it's just something that I make for my husband. I also really love it too, and our grandchildren love it. So, and it's really versatile, but I'll talk a bit more about that as we get going. See you in a minute. I thought I'd just show you my lovely orchids this year before I start doing the baking. So pretty. These ones are kind of like a sort of a pale yellow apricot-y colour. And we'll just have a wee walk around the garden. Little apples growing. Lots of apples. And Granny Smith. There's nothing really much on the pear tree this year. And this is a really pretty yellow rose. Just sort of, we had a lot of rain and it kind of wrecks the roses, but it has a beautiful smell. And then I had some pretty irises. They're also sort of finishing off. We're getting on the tail end of spring, and I haven't really planted anything in the veggie garden. And then the plums, they're all coming along as well. And this is another little garden that we planted this year. It's just at the back of the house. Don't mind that bit of tin. Yeah, we just decided to dig out some big pungas that we had because they're making a sooty mark against the house. So these are just some lovely oh goodness, I've forgotten what they're called. Wild poppies. Yeah. So they're going to have just a magnificent flower, and they make a really neat looking seed head. So I've got lavenders in here and alstroemeria, little daisy things, more irises, and I've got weeds, wouldn't you know it. Doesn't matter where you live in the world, there's always weeds. And then I've got cornflowers and calendula, which I use in the soap. And then I've got this pretty little rose standard that's called Fairy, that my dad actually gave me, and it's just covered in pretty little flowers. And then I've got some geraniums down there, more cornflowers, a lovely chrysanthemum, which is just starting to flower. It's very beautiful. More cornflowers. And what else? Just down the back, there's some sort of roses. There's plenty of weeds. And over there we've got elderflower. That's blooming. I did make elderflower cordial one year, but I probably won't do that this year. I even gave it for Christmas presents. And these flowers, oh my word, they just have such a beautiful scent. I wish we had smell-o-vision, and it's just covered. So I've actually got 3 elderflowers. And we've got the apricot tree. I did lots of pruning on these trees, and so a lot of the energy is going into new growth and not so much into fruit this year. That's alright. It was just getting a bit sort of funny looking and leggy. Anyway, we'll just end the little garden tour here. Oh, and there's also lots of flowers on the feijoa bush. We actually hardly got any feijoas last year. They have such a neat looking flower. They almost look a bit like the pahutakawa, the New Zealand Christmas tree. I don't know if I'm zooming in very well here. And then there's a really nice one just in there. You can see that. Yeah, but there's lots and lots of flowers this year, so let's hope that we get a really good yield. So in this saucepan I've just got 150 grams of butter. I know 1 stick of butter in America equals 125 grams, so it would be about 1 1/4 sticks. And then I'm just getting out 1 tablespoon of golden syrup. And 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Well, I never measure anything. I'm just going to do a little splash. There we go. So then I'm just going to melt this and then we'll get on with the dry ingredients. Okay, so I've got 1 cup of just regular plain flour there. And then we need 1 teaspoon. Oh, where's my good teaspoon? 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Just a little teaspoon. And then we need some brown sugar. And we're going to use, I'm just looking at my recipe. Can't find it. 1 cup of brown sugar. I'll just measure that out. Oh, I can hear that butter melting on the stove. So I'm trying to be a bit better with the videos and try and get some made. So I'm just taking you along with my everyday life, with whatever I'm making, baking. I thought that's what a lot of other people do, so that's what I'm going to start doing. And I thought you might be interested. So let's hope somebody's interested in this, or more than even more than that, as far as I'm concerned, is a lot of what I do is very simple and easy, and it saves you money. It's better for you making your own things. So 1 cup of cornflakes, and children love it. You can easily double this recipe, which I've done many times. So a variation, so this is kind of the chocolate crunch version of it, but if you didn't want to make it chocolatey, then you could just leave out the cocoa, and I think the other one just has, you add peanuts and then it becomes caramel square, so it's all very easy. Okay, so I could just better stir that butter. I can hear that sizzling away. I might actually just turn that down just a teeny bit. Okay, alrighty, so we've got our cornflakes in here, and 1 cup of flour, the brown sugar, a little bit of baking powder, and then I'm going to add in just a little bit of oats. So these are just regular rolled oats. They're not the big whole ones. So probably, actually I probably don't need a whole half a cup. Maybe just about 1/4 of a cup. And it goes. So I'm sure in other countries you've probably got something similar to this slice that you probably just have been making for years as well, for children's lunch boxes. I think most women have their kind of go-to recipes, or their standard recipes that they make a lot. Alright, so now I've got some raisins, and we're just going to add in half a cup. But I'm going to add a little bit more because I'm making the chocolatey version and we won't be using peanuts. So maybe just about 3/4 of a cup. Alright, so now we need to add some cocoa. This is a really dark cocoa. So probably like a fat rounded tablespoon. So there seems to be various different grades of cocoa. Some cocos are really lovely and chocolatey, and others are just not as good a quality. Because I'm sure the process for processing cocoa beans is pretty much the same, so I don't know what they mix with it to make it not as chocolatey. And here I've got coconut. It's just a regular coconut, not a big thread, just a desiccated coconut. So we're putting in 1 cup of that into there. Now we'll just, so the cookbook I'm using, it is a very scruffy looking old exercise book that was one of the first books I made or put together when my husband and I were married. And as you probably can't see, but there's all kinds of scribbles and variations and changes all over it, which is a lot of my recipes are like. But this is so lovely. I think I originally got this recipe from my friend Paula, and I thought, gosh, that's a wonderful recipe. I think we will add that to our repertoire in our home. Alright, so our butter and golden syrup and vanilla is all melted, so we're just going to pour that in. And my oven's hot. I've turned it on to 180 degrees Celsius, which is just a moderate oven. Okay. I've noticed on some of my videos that I excessively scrape the bowl and stand there for ages banging and crashing, and I thought, oh my word, when I was going back editing the last video, I thought, jeepers, I need to just cut down on the scraping and banging. But then I suppose for people who like that ASMR, all the sound effects and everything, maybe they think it's just fabulous. Although those videos, I think they're quiet, and it's just the sound of mixing and pouring and all that sort of thing. So you can tell just as you're mixing it, you don't want your mixture to be too sort of oily or buttery looking. So I just kind of gauge it, and if I think it looks a little bit too oily, then I might just add just up to 1 tablespoon more of flour. I think in this instance I'm going to. I'll just add 1 more tablespoon. There we go. Alrighty. And thank you for all the lovely comments and welcome back and all those lovely things that ladies left on my last video. That was so sweet. It just encouraged me. Yeah, just encouraged me a lot. Alright, see how lovely and chocolatey and crunchy that looks. So cornflakes that give it that sort of crunch. Alright, so we're just going to put it into our little standard square baking tin. Now I've had this baking tin, I think, my whole married life. It's just marvellous. It's really sturdy, and I use it probably every week, unless I'm making cookies or something, which I don't seem to make as much of these days as I used to. Alright, so the next step is you just need to press this into the tin really well and make sure it's just all even. And then I'll also tell you a little tip about when I cut it. So let's just get that in there. So I'm kind of pressing it firmly, but I'm not like, yeah, pressing it through the bottom of the tin, if that makes sense. So there we are, it's just all pressed in. Now I'm just going to pop that into the oven, and we're going to cook it for 20 minutes. So I'll see you back here when it's out of the oven, and I'll show you what I'm going to do for just kind of like a little drizzle icing with some melted chocolate. Okay, back again, the slice is out of the oven. You can see how beautiful and chocolatey it looks. And hear those, or see the raisins were all puffed up, and it's making a lovely sound. So in this bowl here, I've just got 1 cup of these little wee chocolate pieces and a teaspoon of extra virgin coconut oil. And I'm just going to melt that together in the microwave for 1 minute. And then we'll give that a wee stir, and then I'm just going to drizzle it over the top instead of doing any other sort of icing. And please let me know in the comments what you're doing to get ready for Christmas this year. To be honest, I haven't thought a heck of a lot about Christmas at the moment. But little wee thoughts. So first of all, I just want to get some lettuce plants and tomato plants and things into my garden, and then decide what I'm going to make for Christmas, if we're going to have a Christmas cake this year, and also just think about getting the Christmas decorations down and making the house look all pretty and festive. So yeah, let me know what you're up to. I know it's I don't know if it's Thanksgiving, if it's been Thanksgiving, or yeah, if you've had it yet or not. But I'd love to know what you like to do for Thanksgiving, any special baking or special treats. Yeah, please just share that in the comments. Okay, I'll just get that chocolate out. Right, so I just put that in for 1 minute, and the coconut oil has melted. This is an extra virgin coconut oil, so it will have a coconutty smell, and I probably actually didn't even need to have a whole cup of those little wee baking chips, but I did, so that's okay. So now what I'm going to do is just sort of drizzly pour it over the top. That's probably going to end up actually covering most of the top because I've made so much of it. But it was meant to be just kind of like a drizzle. I think I'll just dump the whole lot in there. I might get my super good scraper, this little blue one. I think I've talked about this little scraper before. I got it on Amazon, or off of Amazon. Quite expensive, but so great. I've got another one. I use one of these in the soap room as well, and I've got a spare one there, but I'm trying to, I've had this, I think I've had this one for a couple of years, so it's doing really well. Oh my word, look how delicious this looks. I actually don't even normally put any icing or anything on top of the slice, and it's still great. But today, I just thought for something a little bit different, turn it around to get that into the corner, I might put a little bit of chocolate on the top. Oh, that looks so good. Now you can just kind of, as it starts to dry a bit, sort of flick little bits up, and then it makes little wee peaks in the chocolate. It's going to be so yummy. I'll show you over so you can just have a wee close-up look how delicious that looks, and when it's all dry I'll bring you back and we'll cut it. Hi everyone, back again. I'm just going to cut this slice. It's still a little bit sticky, chocolatey on the top. I think it's just because it's so warm and humid here, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut it anyway. Okay, I'll just lift it out of the tin. And then you just cut it as many slices as you want. Oh, there's a little ant, get rid of him. Okay, so I think I'll cut it into 12. I used to always cut it into 16. And maybe I'll do it that way. Alright, so just get it in the middle, and just press down, and then in the middle again, and again on this side. You can see it's still sticky. I'm going to put it in the fridge after I've cut it and put it in the tin. And now I think there's a raisin come out. I think I'm going to cut this one here into 4 because they look a little bit fatter, and then cut the other ones just into 3. Well, they'd be pretty fat bars though. Yeah, we'll still cut it just into 3. So normally this would make 16 slices, but this time it makes 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I'll take a little picture of that to put with the video and see how delicious it looks. So I hope you'll give this simple chocolatey slice a try. Bye for now.